All right, folks, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Hustle podcast. Today, we've got one of the rising stars of the industry, friend of mine named Marcus Umana. Marcus has been in the industry in his fifth year, and he's doing some incredible things. One of the things that I found really unique and why I had to get him on is, most people come into this industry and it's their second, their third, their sometimes even their fourth or fifth career, and very rarely do we see the success like Marcus is experiencing for somebody kind of straight out of high school or shortly after, young and gunning, and chose this as their primary career. It's such a unique thing. We're starting to see more and more of that in the industry. And we needed to hear what Marcus was up to, how he got here, and all the incredible things that he's doing. So, Marcus, welcome.
Thank
Let's
you.
start by you just telling people about yourself, man. Like, why real estate? What made you come
hmm
into this game? And where you headed?
Getting into real estate wasn't necessarily something that I planned. It basically all happened because of COVID. I was gonna go to university. That was the plan. COVID happened. No more university, essentially. So instead of sitting at home, I started to go work at my mom's factory. She does like the logistics side of things, but they need people to make plastic bottle caps. So I sat there in a factory all day, every day, just making plastic bottle caps. And at that point, I knew that that definitely wasn't the career for me, but that's not what I had planned. Like, I wanted to get into physiotherapy and things like that, go to school for kinesiology. That was the whole plan. I just realized that that was going to take a long time, especially with COVID happening and I'd have to be online. And then after like a year or so in the factory, I'm just watching YouTube videos about, finance. I see Graham Stephan. He used to be a realtor and he was talking about finances and everything like that. So I started to get those things in check with my paychecks. And then I saw that real estate had like the opportunity for a lot of growth fairly quickly where you can make a lot more money depending on how much work you put into it and you get to be your own boss. Like that was the main thing for me when I was young. I'm like, oh yeah, I could be my own boss. I could do my own thing. That's what really led me into the real estate side of things. So once COVID like started to lift up, I got my license while I was working there and then started after that.
Man, I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. Like, I love that you kind of recognize that there's an industry that allows you that. Now, that can't be easy, right? Like, I mean, you're coming in
Uh,
into an industry that you are your own boss at such a young age, and having to kind of, be accountable to yourself, be accountable to everything that you're doing. How are you kind of navigating that? And do you get any pushback being a young gun in such like a veteran industry? What's that experience like for you?
I mean, definitely not now. Like the amount that I had when I was like 2019, like getting into the whole thing, because I was a child. Let's be completely real. Like now that I'm 25, like I don't have that mindset or I don't feel that way at least. But back then when I
Right.
was like 19, 20, like all the time. And like I understand it because like I didn't really know what I was talking about either. Like I did, but not really, So that was a problem at the beginning. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I barely worked the first year. Like I didn't have any guidance. Like I was my own boss. Like I was so happy to be my own boss. And then I realized being my own boss, I gotta go to work. I wasn't going to work as my own boss my first year into the career because like I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know how to generate leads or talk to clients or how to even do deals in the first place. So being
Right.
completely on your own when you're just getting into it, plus being 19, 20, probably not the way to go. I wouldn't have gone that way if I restarted it all, but it was a good learning experience at least.
So if you could go back, like what would you have done differently coming out of the gate at such a young age now that you've got this industry experience?
I mean, now that I have the industry experience, I would definitely join a team right from the get-go. I didn't join a team until like about a year after, and that's when it was a team of like two other agents at my office, and it's only because my broker called me and she's like, "Hey, these guys want somebody on there." So that's when I was like learning from two other agents that were been in the game like not much longer than me, but they at least knew how to get leads and do deals and stuff. So it was nice to like learn from them, see that type of thing. And then I took my next step joining one of the bigger teams in the city. And that's when it was like a lot less of me being my own boss. So it was like a kind of like a full circle moment because I started working for the team, do like a bunch of team things, do a few team deals. It's training all the time. So the training I was really grateful for. We did scripting every morning, which was great. And then I sold a house from a lead that I generated on my own, and it was over $1 million. Commission check looked beautiful. And then when I got the commission check and I saw it like cut in half, and then cut in half like a little bit more, I was like, you know what? Let me go back to being my own boss, and I left the team right after that. Basically, like once,
Right.
like I think the team was great, but that because that was my goal from the very beginning, I knew I wasn't going to be there for long. And then after seeing that was kind of the the shove in the back that I needed to just take the risk and do it on my own after that. And at that time, I'm like 22, 23. So I had built a lot more confidence in the industry that I was more confident to step out and do something like that.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Like, I mean, it's your what you did, not crazy unique, right? But
Right.
definitely, I think when I look at it, yeah, I joined a team at one point. I talk to people about that from time to time. I'm in full agreement. Like when I decided to join a team is because I was at a conference and I had already been in the industry 5 years. And somebody had
Yep.
sort of said to me, they said, listen, you're either building a team or you should go join a team.
Yep.
Solo agent is really hard to do everything on your own all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's also a lonely business, right? Like on top of
Yeah.
everything
Yeah. Yeah.
else, you are by yourself all the time. So it takes I tell people this all the time. I'm like, it's like a goalie in hockey, right? It takes a special kind of crazy to just want to do this by yourself all day long and grind it out. So kudos to you for kind of recognizing, hey, yeah, my broker called and said, hey, you should think about this, but you could have said no. You could have
Yep.
let that ego stay high, and you could have said, "Nah, there's no way that I'm going to do this." Ironically, when I decided to join a team, it was kind of the exact same reasons. Now, I got sold on a different kind of way about doing it, but ultimately, it was how can I learn as much as humanly possible in the smallest
Yeah.
amount of time?
Yep.
And that meant that I had to learn it from kind of somebody else, right? And so kind of
Yep.
sounds like you kind of took that same thing. I want to go back a second though, because I heard something and I was absolutely rolling from it. Is you fully admitted that you barely worked year one? What the hell were you
Yeah.
doing all day long?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. Like I was probably just like I was just in the gym or like playing basketball or something like that. But it definitely wasn't real estate because I can't even like pull it from my brain about what I was doing at that time. So
Right,
if you're gonna get into the industry, of course you gotta join the team. Just join the team. They'll show you how to work because you're not gonna get into here and know how to work. Like it's completely different from what you think. Like I'm sat in front of a computer most of the time, just trying to generate deals or prospects the whole time to then and go and show properties. You don't just hop in the business and start showing properties right away, which is what you would assume because you don't really know the back end side of things.
right. Well, I just love that you had the humble thing in you, and that's one of the reasons we've always connected is you're so real about it, right? Like I think so many people, they kind of lie to themselves. Oh man, I've been working all day, I've been doing this, doing that, and then 2 years pass, they fail out of the business. Depending on where you are in the world or how long you've been listening to the show, you might have heard me in the past say that in my opinion, I think real estate has one of the highest failure rates of almost
Yeah.
any other industry. Like it's like 95% of people who ever hold a real estate license will make anything of themselves in this
Yep.
career, right? The failure rate in the first year to 2 years is enormous. And then barely anybody makes it to 5 years. And so, you're on the precipice of that. You're in your fifth year. No doubts you're gonna make it over that hump. And then it's like, it's like going over a reef, right? You get the big waves, and all of a sudden you
Hmm.
get some calmer waters, and your business starts to repeat and referral and things of that nature. But what I find humbling is how many agents lie to themselves every damn day that they are getting up
Yeah.
and going to work, and they're doing nothing.
And like that used to be me too. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say like it wasn't me at one point. It's just when you realize that it was you and that you can't do that anymore because one, you're gonna go broke. Two, you're gonna go out of business. So you kind of have to go ahead and do that. And like joining this office was great for me too, because then I can see everybody else around me and talk to other people that are actually in the business. Because as you said, it's lonely. And before, when I'm working at home or at my previous office, there's nobody to really talk to or even learn from. Because like I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm the best at sales or anything either. Like when I talk to the other agents in here, I always learn something different from them, and then I can apply it to my business. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even think like that before. And I think that's also what's cool about real estate is everybody does business differently. Like there's a lot of different
100%.
ways to go about it, but everybody has their own niche or has their own strategy or way to prospect and lead gen. Like there's so many different aspects to it, which I really enjoy now at this point in my career because I get to learn so many new things and so many new avenues to go away about it that when it comes to growth in the future, that there's so much I can do and then so much that other people can do as well.
100%. But even that's unique, right? Like that ability of thinking that way and learning and understanding that there's always more to learn. Like that's also, I think, a very unique trait that a lot of people coming into this industry don't possess. You know, if you're struggling and you're out here and whatever hustle you're doing isn't working, picking up the phone, going into the kitchen, stopping somebody in the hallway, meeting a
Yeah.
realtor at an open house, whatever, and asking questions like you mentioned, lead gen, you mentioned lead sources, niches, this, that. Like, that just goes to show that you're a student of the game and you're still learning every single day. And I can't count the amount of agents that I talk to, even people that I've interviewed in the past that are like, they're stuck. There's only one way to do it. They know best, this, that, and the third. And again, I'll give you major props for that at your age to have that level of understanding and that level of foresight to go, hey, I know what I don't know. I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to grow, and I want to learn from everybody else so that I can continue to build. I
Yeah.
think even that is a unique nod that makes you who you are. So I mean, kudos to that. I wanted to kind of touch on because you mentioned kind of having the two teams. So you were a small team and you were a big team, and then you were solo again.
Yeah.
What's the experience like between kind of the three different verticals that you've been through? Because you've now,
Okay.
you've had success. You've had success, I'm sure, on the team, and you had success with the smaller team. What are the major differences that you were noticing between those three? For anybody that's thinking, hey, maybe I want to kind of look at a team or make some of those kinds of decisions.
For the small team, I think like I'll always be super grateful towards them, even though it wasn't the highest production, but I could learn so much, and it was like my first friends in the career as well. Because it's just it's three of us, right? Two more experienced agents and me. They're basically like taking me on and teaching me things. Uh, and they, with a small team like you, they can really like walk you through it because they're doing their own deals and they'll walk you through it, show you how they, handle objections because we're just all in the same little office working together at the same time. When it came to the big team, we're spread out through all the office. Like you're by yourself sometimes, like half of the time, and then the other half of the time you spend like training with the team. The training with the large team, I think, was like absolutely 100% worth it, and everything that they have covered on the back end side of things too. So you don't really have to worry about like contracts or paperwork or getting those little nuances in order, which I've heard a lot of agents don't like. I never really minded it. I always thought it was like okay, like I thought it was fine, but I think a big team is great for like the amount of opportunities that you get because then I had leads coming in as well. I had open houses to go host all the time, uh, unlimited training basically, like, and then I could see a history of selling houses over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is really nice to learn. So I'd say like the smaller team is like really niche. You get to build some friends in the industry. You get to learn the ropes, like hands on. And then the team gives you the opportunity to be thrown into the water and then learn for yourself and then also learn from their training and their systems. But when it comes to being solo, taking all of those things that you learned from both of those teams and then applying it to your own business is probably like the most rewarding feeling. Like when you finally do enough work and then you have a client and they cross the finish line and then you just get to see your own name. Like that was the biggest thing for me when I sold my first house like by myself and then I hopped on the MLS, scrolled down to the bottom and I just saw my name and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Instead of like seeing someone else's name, like that was probably my like favorite moment so far. Like that was really really cool for me.
Nice, nice. So, I mean, it sounds like all those experiences came with benefits. Big team,
Yeah,
small
for sure.
team, really just kind of comes down to preference at that point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, I mean, so we've done it. We're 5 years in, joined a team, been on our own, big team, small team, kind of hitting everything. What are you up to these days, and how are you finding the industry? And again, for those of you listening, depending on when it is, where you are, it's we're recording this sort of at the start of 2026. We're 6 years post the pandemic, post COVID. The world's in a really strange place. We got wars, all kinds of crazy stuff happening. So we're not in like a full fledged. It's an easy market. We're certainly not in the worst
Yeah.
market anymore, but it's certainly interesting times. What are you working on?
So I accidentally niched it down. So last year I ended up hiring two marketing agencies to start running ads on Google and Facebook. Paid them quite a pretty penny to get those things started, but they ended up testing like 50 to 60 different ads. And then the one thing that really like stood out and performed the best was this bungalow with a red roof. Not even a real house or anything like that. But it started to attract a lot of people that were looking for bungalows and looking for downsizing, but I didn't have a system in place to like handle the amount of leads because this is my first time going into lead generation by myself. And I generated about 800-ish leads over like 8 months. And then I was just like calling and dialing, texting often, but like not as much as I do now. But I didn't really have a follow-up system either. Like I didn't really know how to nurture them. So that's when I took a step back to like look at my business and see how I can take advantage of like this starving crowd because like they're running all these ads and this is the only niche that really worked. So this year, last month was in February, was when I finally had my bungalow boss side of the business down, which is like all downsizers, all bungalows, nothing else. That's what I'm focusing on my business for lead generation is just bungalow boss, bungalows, downsizing. That's it. I'm running all my ads on my own now, not through the agencies. I kind of learned how to do the back end side of things through them, found out what worked. And like just for
Right.
example, so February to March, in that time period, I ran my first set of like the Bungalow Boss ads, and I generated 296 leads, not just last month. So now it's dealing with an even bigger volume of the amount of leads and how to handle that much stuff. So that's my current learning experience is dealing with that much because going through that and calling every single day is like a ton of calls and a ton of text. So it's kind of like upgrading my systems to keep up with that.
Wow. I love that I love that you keep trying to do these things on your own. That's pretty impressive, just as a side note. What's crazy to me though is you pick the niche that you have to work with the oldest demographic as a
Yes,
typical rule of thumb, being one of the youngest successful realtors in the game all at the same time. Like, how
exactly.
the hell did you anticipate that when you started going down this path?
No, I didn't, not at all. But like I feel like the stars aligned, like it was meant to be almost. Like my first sale was a downsize before I even had like ever had these plans, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's the downsize king." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." But I really love them. That was a great transaction, and then this kind of all happened by accident. But like even on a listing appointment once, I was talking to a guy, and he asked me how old I was, and I was 24 at the time. He's like, you're younger than my grandson." And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. He's like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, his grandson is like 27 and I'm 24. But it was like funny. We just laughed about it. Like it was fine. Like they didn't actually have any problems with it. It was just like an observation. And I think like a lot of the downsizers just see me as the trusty grandson. That's what I tell myself at least. So
Right. Well, I think if you're playing the part, like, hey, it's working,
yeah,
right? I
why
mean,
not?
that's such a unique niche, and I've said before, like on the show, and even talking and coaching with agents, I've said, hey, you're gonna have your general business, you're never gonna say no to that, but if you can be
Absolutely, yeah.
known for something, you can do so much more business as the person that's known for that. And what's funny about that for
Mhm.
me is I learned that when I was on a team, because there was this guy and he was known as like the condo king. And so
Yeah,
this individual would be a terrible time to be that person. But back then, 12 years ago, this individual, all he did was market and sell condominiums, townhouse condos, apartment style condos, whatever, whatever. All his marketing was centered around that. And so being on this team, I would get all these leads to sell all these condos. And back then, condos were one of the hottest things that you could have. And he built like a 30, 40-year business selling condos. Now he still
yeah,
did everything else. That was like what he was known for. Like almost every condo that I went into was like what we call a come list me, because there wasn't even any questions about it, because that's all he spoke to them about, all his marketing, everything else. And I think you're kind of creating a version of that in the bungalow
yeah,
space. And when I first heard of this, I was like, what a brilliant idea. There is a shortage of houses, and I mean, what's funny is how many people have tried to steal your idea and they're not even trying to do it to the level that you're doing it, so you're still winning. But
exactly.
you know you've got retirement homes you can't get in. It's like a 1 to 2, 3, 4 year wait, I've heard, in some places to get into a retirement home. And then you've got all these people that are aging up. I don't want to use the word boomers, but it's the commonality
Hmm.
is these people are aging out and they don't want to take care of the really big expensive house, and they want to get
Yeah,
into a nice easy bungalow. So
exactly.
you've created an intake on a really nice product coming in. So you're selling the high end home or the bigger home, and then you're putting them into an easy sale. And then
Yeah,
you get to be friendly and personal. I absolutely love it. What a great idea. And
yeah,
what I love about it is like that last line that you said, is that I'm just in there like their grandson, which tells me that you
yeah.
actually genuinely enjoy the niche that you've put yourself into.
Yeah, the niche is great. It's cool. You get to hear a lot of stories. Like the phone calls are usually like pretty long as well. They'll just start telling you about what's going on. It's always cool to like learn different things too from them. It's like two completely different lives. Like it couldn't have been like you as you said more different, but it's fun, you know? Like why not? So and like the whole
I
niche
mean, it
thing, like it
also
happened
ties
by
to who
accident.
you are, right? You love to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, exactly. And like the whole niche thing happened by accident, but I think it was a happy accident, and I just capitalized on what I saw. Like I just saw the trend, and I'm like, yeah, that's something that I'm just gonna go ahead and dive towards. And as you said, yeah, there's a lot of other companies that like do the same sort of thing, but they won't completely niche down into it. That's why I did it mainly because like a lot of other companies will like advertise like, oh, just run downsizing ads. Like there's a million billion people running downsizing ads, but that's why I had to just take the lane and then like basically kick everybody out and then show that this is where you go to downsize, this is where you go to find the bungalows, not just like the crappy ads almost. Like I don't mean to say anything wrong about it, but like that's how I feel about it at least.
Hey, listen, we're
But
not we're not here to
hey,
oh, it's business. We're not here to make friends with
yeah,
anybody. Sorry if your feelings are hurt. You're running downside ads and you're not doing it right. I mean, that if I'm learning and I want to be a downsizer, I'm going to reach out to Marcus. I'm going to try to get a hold of him and make sure that I can be as professional and run the type of ads that he's running. I think that gets lost. Like people try to
yeah,
copy all the time, and it happens. Like it's an
yeah, of
industry. Like
course.
nothing's really proprietary. So everyone's going to do research and development and steal, rip off, duplicate, whatever. But at the same time, I heard something that you said is like nobody went all in.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody
dug
would.
deep at the level. Exactly. There's the difference, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
So
Like
I
nobody
love that. I
wanted
love
to.
Nobody wanted to. And I mean, you're generating two, 300 leads a month, a week. I'm not sure the timeline on that. And now you're overwhelmed with leads of people that want to downsize. So, I mean, credit where
Yeah.
credit's due. You can hate it all you want. Marcus is coming. He's taking over. He's taking over. You're just going to have to get in with the bungalow boss. And I love the line. Like, I'm just going to keep saying
It's
it.
such a good name. Like I was just thinking bungalow and then a word with a B, and then that worked. And I'm like, you know what? Sure. Yeah.
You know
Uh,
what? I love the simplicity of it. I think there's something unique about that. How like simplistic that is. Like you didn't overthink it. You didn't like sit on it for weeks. Like sometimes we see branding and you're like you talk to the people and they're like, "Yeah, it took me months to come up with this." Marcus is like, "Hey, I'm doing bungalows and I needed a word of the B."
yeah, and it sounded the best. Like anything else would have just it wouldn't have rolled off the tongue the same way. I think it's easy to remember too. Bungalow
Definitely.
boss. It's just easy. A good way to remember.
100%, 100%. So, I mean, I want to hear like if you've told me kind of, you know, you would do things a little bit differently, but we got listeners all over the world. We've got listeners that are young. Like I said, more and more people are starting to choose real estate as their first career. We're seeing like when I started, no word of a lie. I think the average age of realtors was 62. Average.
Hmm.
That means that there were people well above that to
Yeah.
keep that average at 62. And I was a virtually young pup. I came into the industry at 25, so I was a virtual baby in the industry as well. So I know what you went through and how you got there. If you could give advice to the younger up and coming, I mean, I know you told them, "Hey, go join a team." But what else would you share with that younger group that's, they're going to get hate on for their age, they're going to have all these different things. How would you help them navigate the real estate industry in today's era?
I would say there's a few things to it, especially if you're joining young. Number one is just lean into it at this point. You can't just magically become 30 tomorrow if you're 19, 22, 25, whatever. Just be 19, 22, 25. Who cares? Like, once you start talking and you know what you're talking about with these clients, then a lot of the time the age will just be thrown out the window. And I get it's going to be a lot harder when you are 19 and 20 because you're 19 selling a $1 million property. Then it's a little bit iffy. But if you really know what you're talking about, then you can really take their guard down a lot and they're not going to be judging you solely based on your age. And also just understanding how hard it's going to be. Like it's definitely not going to be easy. And with the market where we're in, where a lot of agents are struggling and they aren't selling things, it's going to take a lot of work. And it's going to take a lot of phone calls and it's going to take a lot of texts and it's going to take a lot of emails, maybe a lucky open house here and there. You got to follow up on your clients. You got to always be in contact with them and you got to understand that it's going to take a while. Like nothing's going to just happen right away, but it could, right? You could always get lucky and something could happen right away, which would be great. But you got to just be ready for things to take a while and just be okay with that.
Right, 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 right. Well, I mean, luck is simply, opportunity and preparation where they meet
Yep.
on the road, right? So I love that. I wrote down never stop being a student of the game. I know you didn't say it quite that way, but that's kind of the messaging that I heard for today was never ever stop being a student of the game. Like here's
Never.
Marcus, young, hungry, he's learning. I mean, I come to you sometimes trying to learn from you, the same as you trying to learn from me. And I think as long as we continue to do that, that you're going to continue to grow your business. And I think that's such a key instrumental part of everything that we do. Now, lastly, before we run out of time, and again, I didn't tell you this was going to happen, so bear with Marcus here, guys.
All right.
It's our mic drop moments. Marcus, what we do is everybody that comes on the show has to give us, or at least we try to encourage them. Only a handful of people have never made it happen, but we try to encourage you to have what we call our mic drop moment of the day. What is the one thing that if people came away from this today, it was a successful day for them? Give us your mic drop moment. What do we got to know?
If you want to be successful in real estate, as someone that's under 25, you gotta get up and get out of bed by 7
Let's go. You gotta get up. I
a.m.
love that. I love that. I hope my son's listening. I'm gonna send this to my son. He argues with me about this all the time. I'm like, get up. You got it. Like
You
business starts
got,
so early.
yeah, exactly. I
I
try to get the
love that.
gym
I
in
love that.
beforehand and stuff, but like it's the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing. If you want to get started, just get up in the morning. That's it.
That's it. That's it. There's a book I read. It completely changed my world. I read it a few years ago. It's really really tiny. It's only about this big, and it's only about this thick. It's called Make Your Bed. And it's
Yeah.
simply based on that exact principle. Get up early, make your damn bed. You've already won the day. Win the morning, win the day, and out you go. So I love that you live that, embody that. So kudos to you. Now, Marcus, if you've got people looking for bungalows, people trying to get a hold of you, agents that want to track you down and learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you? Is that Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? bungalowboss.com? Like, how do we get a hold of you in the future?
You can probably find me on Instagram. It's Marcus Umana underscore RE. I don't use Instagram that often, but I'll be there if you need to find me. The website, bungalowboss.ca, that's where you really want to find the bungalows and the downsizing. Just go over there instead and refer me somebody. That'd be sick. But yeah, you can find me on
There you
Instagram, no
go.
problem.
Absolutely. Hey, we're all about that shameless promotion. We're in business. We got to make sure that people know who we are. And I love it. So, guys, this has been the Real Estate Hustle Podcast. Again, Marcus Umania. Marcus, I've been saying your last name wrong for as long as I've known you. Finally heard you say it. Now I got it right. Thank you for
Perfect.
that. Thank you for the opportunity to sit with you today and to learn
Thank you for
from
having me.
you and to understand that you've grown. Guys, if you want to find us, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram. Real Estate Hustle Podcast everywhere. We're on every major listening station out there as well: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast, and on the web. So track us down. We're hitting YouTube with the season releases if you want to watch the videos as well. And it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know Marcus, the bungalow boss,
Yes, sir.
understanding what he's doing, how he's doing it. I learned stuff today. I don't even think I knew you were as young as you were. I am so honored for the opportunity, and I love to see people building their businesses. So kudos to you, man. Thank you for being here today. We
Thank
really
you for having me,
appreciate it.
man. Of course.